At Dragon TV's 2025 New Year's Eve Gala, Xiao Zhan stood still for just 1 second. And that single second was enough to make millions of viewers rewind. Not because the music was louder than usual, not because the choreography was unusually complex, but because at the very end of the performance, Xiao Zhan suddenly stopped, completely motionless, at the center of a brightly lit stage. He didn't smile, he didn't strike a final pose, he didn't look directly into the camera. He simply stood there, dressed in a clean-cut suit, his expression calm, restrained, and heavy with presence. The moment passed quickly, but it lingered long enough for viewers to feel that something was different. The music had ended, the dancers had stopped, yet the emotion had not. In that brief pause, Xiao Zhan no longer looked like a singer finishing a stage performance. He looked like a character stepping out of a climax, someone who knew exactly when silence was more powerful than motion. That moment would later be given a name online, the ending fairy. And from there, everything began to spread. From the moment the stage lights came on, Xiao Zhan was positioned at the center. There was no lengthy introduction, no attempt to force an early peak. The music started, and he moved. Every step was precise. Every motion was controlled, clean, and intentional. There was no excess, no rush, no visible strain. Xiao Zhan didn't rely on speed to capture attention. He relied on control. Throughout the performance, his gaze shifted subtly, sometimes soft, sometimes sharp, but never disconnected from the rhythm of the stage. He neither overshadowed the dancers nor faded into the formation. He occupied exactly the space he needed to occupy. That alone created a clear impression. This was not a performance designed to impress at first glance, but one carefully calibrated down to the smallest detail. As the song approached its final moments, the rhythm slowed, the movements simplified, the space opened up. And then it happened. The music stopped, the dancers stopped, Xiao Zhan stopped. Not randomly, but precisely at the point of emotional impact. He stood still, completely motionless, eyes forward. No smile, no bow, no conventional closing gesture. For a few brief beats, the stage fell into a rare silence, especially striking for a New Year's Eve gala. That was the moment the audience stayed. No immediate cheers, no instant applause. And when the transition finally came, viewers realized something unexpected. That silence had become the most memorable part of the entire performance. After the gala, the clip that spread wasn't the full song, it wasn't the high-energy choreography. It was the ending. 1 second, isolated, slowed down, repeated. The term ending fairy began circulating online, not because of fantasy imagery, but because the moment felt suspended, detached from ordinary time. What made this moment even more striking was how little it relied on context. You didn't need to understand the lyrics. You didn't need to follow the choreography from the beginning. Even viewers encountering the clip for the first time, completely out of context, reacted the same way. They paused. There was clarity in that stillness, a sense of completion without exaggeration, confidence without display. Xiao Zhan didn't signal that the performance was over. He allowed the audience to feel it on their own, and that distinction matters. Because in a space where performers are often encouraged to extend, emphasize, and explain, choosing not to do so becomes a statement in itself. That 1 second of silence suggested control, not only over the stage, but over timing, attention, and emotional release. It was not a moment asking to be praised. It was a moment that assumed the audience would understand. And judging by how often it was replayed, they did. What made it resonate wasn't visual spectacle, it was familiarity. Everyone has experienced that exact pause, when something has ended, but the feeling hasn't caught up yet. Xiao Zhan brought that pause onto the stage. No explanation, no narration. He stood still and allowed the audience to meet the moment on their own. There was another detail throughout the performance that quietly reinforced this effect: his interaction with the dancers. Brief handshakes, quick exchange glances, nothing exaggerated, nothing performative. They felt like shared timing rather than scripted gestures, as if everyone on stage was moving within the same breath. That natural coordination prevented the performance from feeling rigid or mechanical. And then came a moment that wasn't part of the performance at all. After the song ended, Xiao Zhan reached for a tissue to wipe away sweat, a quick, instinctive movement. Almost immediately, he realized the camera was still rolling. He put the tissue away. He smiled lightly, no embarrassment, no overreaction, just a very human response. That moment spread almost as quickly as the ending pose itself. And interestingly, it didn't weaken his stage presence. It strengthened it because it revealed something essential. Behind the precision and control was someone still reacting naturally, in real time. Two contrasting moments, absolute stillness on stage and a casual, unguarded reflex, coexisted within the same night. And together, they completed the image. Xiao Zhan was not just the center of the performance. He was the one setting the emotional pace, from motion to silence to an unguarded smile. That's why, when the gala ended, what people talked about most wasn't the fireworks, wasn't the stage effects, but that single second when Xiao Zhan stood still. Within hours, that moment began circulating across platforms. Not the entire performance, just the ending, viewed repeatedly, shared across timelines, discussed without explanation. People didn't rewatch it to analyze technique. They rewatched it to confirm a shared reaction. I felt that too. The algorithm responded accordingly. Viewers didn't scroll past, they paused, they replayed, they stayed. Not because the clip was shocking, but because it introduced something rare, a moment of stillness inside an endless stream of motion. That stillness turned a stage performance into a shared emotional reference. And from one silent second, a collective experience emerged. In an era where stages compete with lights, speed, and spectacle, it was a moment of restraint that lingered the longest. That wasn't accidental. It came from understanding presence, not just performing, but shaping how the audience feels when the performance ends. Xiao Zhan knew when to move to lead emotion forward. And more importantly, he knew when to stop so the audience could catch up. That ending didn't need explanation, it didn't need validation. Its continued circulation was proof enough. Long after the final broadcast ended, the image continued to surface in unexpected places. Short clips appeared in edits, reactions, and slow motion breakdowns. Each time, the response was consistent. Viewers stopped talking, comments slowed, attention narrowed. It was never about proving skill or chasing applause. It was about allowing a moment to breathe. In a crowded digital space where everything demands immediacy, Xiao Zhan offered restraint. And restraint, paradoxically, felt bold. That choice transformed a single second into something durable, something viewers could return to without explanation, without fatigue, and without losing its emotional weight over time and repeated viewings. The gala ended, the music faded, the lights dimmed, but the image of Xiao Zhan standing still did not disappear. It continues to be replayed, slowed down, and revisited, a rare quiet beat in a world that rarely stops moving. And perhaps that is why people stayed with it for so long.